All right, let's get this started.
Yes, how are you feeling?
Feeling okay, powering along through December, you
Yes.
know, and you just came back from your trip.
Yes, I did. So I might be looking a little tired,
No,
exhausted.
but you were in
Be-
the sunny Phoenix.
Yes, yes, I was. I liked it there. No one misses Canada during the winters. Yeah. How's your daughter doing? Is
She's
she feeling
good,
better?
getting better. It's been like 2, 3 weeks.
Yes.
And then a week of it was spent trying to work from home with like Peppa Pig blasting through the TV. So it's overstimulated, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Winter's here, right? So
Yeah, I don't know why is there not a tax to pay us to live in this country during this awful climate? I
I
don't
like
know.
that you said that.
Why isn't there some reimbursement?
I
That's
know you said when you entered that you were in a spicy mood. What
yes.
what brought that on? Do
Oh,
you want to share?
nothing specific. I would say I think it's that time of the year. Everything's coming to a head.
Is that time of the month too? For
No,
me
not
it
yet.
is. Okay. It's getting there.
It's getting there too.
Yes. Another thing to note is our cycles are syncing.
They are sinking, which is a scary thing. It's a scary reality.
Yes. But yeah, what do you think is yeah, it's that time of the year and
Yeah, I think it's like everything's getting to the end. You're starting to reflect on the year that's
mhm.
passed, doing some like that, oh, okay, like what happened, what worked, what didn't. And then the New Year's resolutions and all
Yes.
that nonsense starts weighing on you. So I feel like it's a lot of that. And of course, the holidays I feel like are not always these cheery type of things that, we get
Yeah.
sold on the marketplace, right?
Yes.
It's you're dealing with a lot of different difficult emotions,
Mhm.
missing loved ones, maybe a particular reality of your life that hasn't panned out the way you wanted to. Maybe you're managing a co-parenting schedule, whatever. Like all these things then come to a head
Mhm.
during the holidays, and then family members.
Yes.
you know,
I always find the holidays the most hectic time.
Hectic, stressful,
Stressful, not very joyous.
lots of
Plus the wind,
pressure.
yeah. Plus the winter, the cold,
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of things do you like to do during the holidays?
I really want to wind down
Yeah.
and just not think about work, maybe.
Yeah. Is that
And
even possible for you? Because you're always on.
I, I think I should take that break sometimes. I'm not doing that because of something coming up every single time, and then also me being the crazy person that I am, I want to start something else and I
A
want to
new
add to it.
project. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of those things. So I think it gets to you after a while. So, but yeah, I'm just exhausted with the travel that I've been doing. And for me, I think during the holidays is just also the nuances. Like the other thing is you need to keep up with everyone. You have to meet them. There is this holiday parties, then there are work parties, and then there is, it's almost feels like, I don't want to say pretense, but it almost feels like you have to put on a good front and go every single time.
hmm
And I think it just that's the part which is exhausting. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And I think it's like you have to be on, and then it's a small conversation, right? The polite
Yes.
conversation's like, so what are you going to do for the holidays? What are
Yeah.
and I feel like I see the value, it's important,
Mm-hmm.
but it gets very tiring. It's not the same as like when you're meeting for a coffee and you're having a heart to heart. You can kind of
Yes.
go into certain topics or whatever. But there you kind of, you're on a particular type of script, repeating it constantly, hearing other people and things. But I guess that's just part of it, part of
Yeah.
being in society.
I get annoyed when someone asks me what my New Year resolution is now, and I'm like, who's even doing that, right? Who's even doing that? You did a very cool, like a family photo shoot. How did that go?
Yes, I like to do these things. It was good. And every year we do them. And so I always try
Mm-hmm.
to have a theme and like try to kind of put that extra chaos onto my parents and my daughter. But yeah, it's lots of fun. I really enjoy it.
It did look like your daughter had fun.
Yeah, I think now she's used to
I
the
think we should put up some of those pictures too, if you don't mind. Just pop them up right now on the screen
yeah,
as we're talking.
she's very cute. And like
Yeah.
she was riding this little dove thing, the rocker.
Oh.
And yeah, like, but also I do all these photo shoots, like the Santa photos. Like tomorrow we're gonna go do the Santa.
Oh,
Every year
nice.
since she was little, she was born, I've done the Santa photos, I've done the professional things photos, I've done pregnancy photos, like everything. I feel like it's we are also the generation that takes lots of photos.
Yeah,
I get it, but like I feel like those professional photos are going to be nice memories for the next generation.
of course. And that's good. I know one of my friends does this with her two kids. She actually got this idea from an Indian like actress that you could like create a Gmail account or any email account, and then you can keep writing letters to them, and then
Yeah.
on their 18th birthday it would be like a bunch of emails containing letters but like photos and stuff, and special occasions which you can like hand over to your kids. And so she's excited about that, and she started late because her kids are older a little bit, but she's aiming for college stuff and like advice and something she came across, and she found that it's really important to know or learn. She's putting that together, and I feel like now just being digital, that's going to be easier. I not that I'm against the handbooking and everything, I really love that, but yeah. What do you think about the gifting season in the holidays?
I think it's wonderful, but it gets overwhelming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person that likes the gift of quality time and like, uh,
Nice, I like that.
and being able to go out and do an activity together. So
Yeah.
I'd love to take you out somewhere,
Oh,
because
thank
I know
you.
you are the type of gifter that likes items. You like things.
No, I like to give people things.
But what are your gifts of
I like
preference? See,
experiences.
okay. See, okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
So for me, I'm the kind of a gifter I think who likes to give gifts, because I just feel like for me a person's personality comes into picture. I like to give experiences too if that person is a little reciprocative of that. I feel like some people don't like that. They're like, oh, might as well just give me a voucher or something else, right? So I think for me it's like I like giving things and other stuff, but yeah, for me, I mean, I wouldn't say I don't like things. I do, but I prefer, I think, to your point, experiences.
Yeah, I like experiences, but I do like
Something different, right? You can spend time, talk to each other.
make a memory
Yeah.
together. But I think, like, to your point, I like thoughtful gifts. So like if like someone like you, I could think about Harry Potter or things, or like,
Oh.
something that really fits your interests and
Yeah.
hobbies. It's not just something I picked up at the Bath and Body
Yes.
Works.
Yes.
I don't want that type of gift. But there's sometimes there was a friend and I was in Vancouver and I picked up this like little that it was a play for this person's nickname, and I picked up a little
That's so
coaster,
cute.
but it just made me think of that person at the time.
I
You
love
know,
that.
it wasn't expensive or anything, but I like gifts like that are more thoughtful.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, this makes me think of this person.
Yeah.
Rather than the pressure of like having to get that thing. And I think those types of gifts are just so much more
I
impactful.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like for me, uh, the only non-stressful thing about the season is going and thinking about what I can do to give this person a gift, and like what that should look like. And it's just so exciting because I think you know this about me. I like shopping.
You are a shopaholic.
Yes, and even if it means I need to shop for someone else, I'm even more excited. Then it's almost like, oh, challenging. Like, what can I get, which
Yeah.
would bring a smile on their face, or something they would really like or experience. And sometimes I've been told that I go all the way out. Like,
You do.
I do.
You're a very generous gifter.
Thanks. I like the way you put that. I don't think my family would agree, though. They're like, I have never seen you buy one thing for one person on an occasion. I'm like, yeah, I don't operate that way. For me, it's like, oh, this looks good too. Or maybe they'll like this too. Or maybe it should always be a bunch of items put together. And I want to like speak to this. I think something like this was something my siblings wanted to do for me one particular birthday, and I didn't enjoy them getting me a bunch of like expensive stuff. I was like, why? And then they were like, you do this for everyone. and you bring a bunch of things. You don't buy one thing.
Yes,
and I'm like,
you do bring a lot of different things.
yes.
together.
And I was like, yeah, but I guess like to your point, I like to spend more. Oh, this is going all the way down. Let's see why. There we go. So for me, it's more like what. Yeah, for me, it's experiences. Definitely experiences. Spending time.
Yeah.
Like, I know for a fact one of my really good friends took me for a Harry Potter escape room.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that existed,
Mm-hmm.
and that was amazing. And in India, you could never find such things. So that was like something out of the ordinary. Uh, it was like 3 hours of us solving everything, which people did in an hour, apparently. And think about it, I'm a Harry Potter fan. She was a Harry Potter fan. We couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 hours, we were just figuring shit out. We were like, what's going on? But it was good because I got to spend time with her. Those 3 hours felt really great, like on your birth, and she did that on my birthday. So it just felt really, really good. And I still think about it on it's been what, 8, 9 years now since we did that. I guess 10 maybe. And so every single birthday I think about that, and every time she wishes me I think about it, and we still bring that up because we haven't hung out in quite some time.
Yeah.
But that was, yeah, like to your point, one of the best experiences I had. And then she went and got me something else, and I was like, you didn't have to, because it just, oh yes, she got some bar below the escape room to prepare Harry Potter drinks for us after the escape room, like a treat, and which I never had butterbeer or all of those things before. So I was like, how did you get them to do that? She's like, well, special request, right? So again, I would count that as another experience that she planned in a way, if you think about it. So yeah, those things like matter to me. Someone wants to spend time with me, especially now, right? A lot of people put off spending time with each other. Don't you think so?
Yeah, at some point, I think you mean put out time to spend with each other, as in it's very difficult to find quality time
Also,
to
like
hang
some
out.
people kind of now, we're in this day and age, people avoid each other too, right? You might not
Interesting.
be busy, but
Yeah.
you're like, I'm busy, I have so many things to do.
Well, I have to say, this weather doesn't make it easier. Okay. December,
Fair.
I'm someone who's like very social. I like to do things, but I did feel like December health things and whatever, just, it's really hard to get yourself all amped up to like want to get dressed up,
Yeah.
go out for a drink or dinner or whatever. So I feel like the weather right now is, and yeah, maybe also economics is
Yeah.
another thing. I feel like a lot of younger people are being there's a lot of those like headlines that
It's
pop up
expensive nowadays.
that it's expensive to go to nightclubs and everything. So people are holding back. And I think there is a more of a comeback of hosting at home.
Yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful thing when people can open up their
Oh,
homes.
I love it when someone is inviting me home and they're cooking for me, which is so rare nowadays, right?
Exactly.
Who does that?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like whatever it may be, just one dish, like something basic too. And I'm like, oh my God, they cooked
Yes.
for me. I had one of my friends on Monday before I went to Phoenix hand me over a jar of brownie cake or something she made at home.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, for your flight. And she went, because I'm trying to avoid sugar, that with the pre-diabetic thing and everything. So she was like, I made sure it's sugar free for you. Like, made it without sugar. I sweetened it through agave and everything. And I was like, oh my God, the time spent to put that together, it was delicious. I ended up having that. I thanked her so much, but I was like, if someone's taking the time out to do that for you.
Yeah, it's super sweet. Or like
Yeah.
had a friend put together pickled gift baskets of like different pickled
Oh
things
my
that she
God,
did.
that's so fun.
That was really lovely. And I still remember that. Like that gift, is that. And I was talking to another close friend of mine. I'm like, I'd like to do pickling because like my grandparents pickled so many things at the farm. She's like, it's okay. This time will come for pickling, for gardening, for all those hobbies. I'm like, yeah, fair. But to your point, I feel there is a resonance of all this hosting at home and this new culture that's popping up to like, what does that mean to be a good host, to be a good guest?
Yeah.
And I think it's very cool and a way to also offset the cost because you can host a potluck. Your friends can
Yes.
all bring something.
Yes.
And I think that's the way to go.
Surprisingly, you know this, when you came home, I gave you one of the packages we want to give the one of our guests who
Yes.
join us.
Yeah.
So I was doing an experiment when I was putting that together, right? So I gave
Yeah.
one of those packages to my friend, and I had given her the advent calendar
Yeah.
that I gave you guys.
Yeah.
And I thought everyone would like the advent calendar because women, right? We love skincare and beauty and stuff. And she did not open hers. She said, so I gave her hers in the start of November, both the gifts, and because I knew she wouldn't be in Canada, she's going to be in US at that time.
Yeah.
And she said, but I'm not going to open it. I'll open it when, Christmas comes along or a few days before December, because you told me it's an advent calendar. So, start of December.
Yeah.
I was like, sure. And she called me screeching. I was like, oh, you like the advent calendar? She goes, no, that was great. That was good. I mean, thoughtful, I guess. And then, and there was another one which I gave one of her friends, which was like, they could test out. Shoppers Drug Mart has this really cool packages where you can test out a bunch of beauty products from the same category, like perfume and everything.
Shoppers Drug Mart, if you want to sponsor us,
Yes.
please,
Thank you. And so it was like you can test out a bunch of expensive, like, say, fragrances.
Yeah.
But then you can go to Shoppers Drug Mart and say, I tried them all, and here's the voucher. Like, it contains a voucher, and you can buy the full version of the.
Yeah, they do that with mascaras too, with Sephora, these little sets.
Yeah.
You can try different
I
mascaras
thought
and
that
then
was
get
great. So
Yeah.
I gave one of our common friends that gift.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them didn't like. I mean, I guess they liked it. They were like, yeah, this is great. But oh my God, that package is so cute. Like little knickknacks. I was like, really? You like that package that I put together for the speaker? She's like, oh yeah, like so many things I can carry in my purse to like work.
I feel like you're starting a new business of knickknacks,
Knickknacks.
putting together knickknacks.
Yeah, I think so. So I was surprised by what people
Find interesting.
Yeah, interesting and something thoughtful. She was like talking to me about, oh, this could clean my glasses and this could do that and this could do that. And I'm like, interesting. That's something you thought was great and not essentially a more expensive, a gift probably directed towards you as a woman, right? Beauty and like skincare and everything. And she's like, yeah, that's great. I really love that too. But this was like, it felt like you put effort, and it wasn't as expensive, as you know.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I was like, it's the effort which counts, right? You think about every aspect and you put it together. I think that's what matters for people. I've seen so many people go through this pressure during the holiday season, and they're like, oh my God, I have friends calling me, asking me for ideas and what we can do. So I was like, okay, that sounds, I can help you out, this and that. But I feel like we have become a society of that whole thing, like to your point, like it has to be expensive, and it's already expensive living in Toronto or any other big major city in North America. And so we spend so much effort, and like we have to outshine something, or what we did last year versus now, and we're forgetting truly the true meaning behind these things. That's the thought that counts, right? To your point, it's how are we spending the time or something. Like if I had a friend who would give me pickles, jars of pickles, I would love that. I would be like, oh, I love pickles.
Oh, I was so distraught today to find out that apparently the McDonald's burgers, that they had this new collection with the Grinch line that they released,
so
that
cute.
it's no longer available. But they had these special burgers
During
with
Christmas,
pickles.
it's not available?
Apparently they pulled them off. So I was like really upset today learning this at the, while my daughter was dancing ballet. I was like, oh, I can't have this burger anymore.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I also really love pickles.
They would want to keep it during the Christmas season at least. Grinch.
Yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason. But yeah, to your point, like there are some gifts that really stand out. I think for me, it's the type of narrative that the person behind the scenes was trying to do. And like in my early years, I was my first serious boyfriend. He was excellent at this. We went to prom together, so he orchestrated a way to get like the corsage. Yeah. The corsage and things like that. Like he was very good at bringing my friends to do different surprises and like dinners and things like that. So I was very spoiled and I took it for granted. But like really lovely. And nice touches, like we were long distance for a couple of years. So if I wasn't feeling well, flowers would be delivered. Like it was
Oh
really
my God.
nice, you
And at
know?
that age when you're kids, right?
Yeah, like in our late teens or whatever, but it was like real
That's so,
effort. And
yeah.
like I feel like the effort was also getting to know my friends, being part of the circle, the community, being able to bring
Oh,
people together. I think that's a real gift. And if people are
that's
able to do
amazing.
it,
Yes.
I think it is wonderful.
Speaking of young love, when I was in university, I did engineering, computer science engineering, which some would argue is not engineering. But we used to have a bunch of different engineering streams, and part of that was something called mechanical engineering, and it contained mostly men, right? Because bias there is crazy. But they used to date a bunch of like women from the other engineering streams, and some of these guys used to actually go to the workshop and make rings for their girlfriends.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah, I guess I remember one or two or three of them doing that,
Yeah.
or maybe one or two, I can't remember. But when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. And then I remember one of the friends, so snobby, snooty. She was like, well, it's not real gold or diamond. And, what are the hypoallergens? And, like, how's it going to stick with my skin? I'm like, I think it's the thought that counts right now. Like,
Yeah.
if someone's going all the way out to do that for you, it for me, it was like mind blowing.
Did
And
you get a ring from any of the
no,
engineers? No?
no, I did not get a ring.
Oh.
I guess I wasn't. I wasn't. I mean, really pretty girls maybe got them. I don't know. I remember one or two of them got them. Also, the college was a little weird. I feel like it was so. People my age were very restrictive in their thinking, and I felt like I was a little more open minded. So it was very difficult to find people with the same calibers. Like some of the jokes I cracked was not
Not
for
as appropriate?
not as appropriate, or the kind of discussions I had. I remember I did not make a lot of friends with girls.
Yeah.
They
You
did
had
not.
more guy friends.
I did.
Yeah.
I did not make friends with a lot of girls. I came from an all girls school, which is
Wow.
surprising for me, but they did not like me for some reason, and I didn't get it. I I did not understand some of the dynamics, which in school it was always ride or die, right, with your friends. In fact, some of them I still speak with. Two of them are still my best friends. We don't talk for months,
Yeah.
and then we suddenly speak. I haven't spoken to my one of my best friends who I'm visiting in Dallas for a year. No, no, that's incorrect. We've been speaking for the past couple of months. Before that, for almost a year, like just quick checks here and there on
Yeah.
messages. But I know, like, I can tell her any secret, anything that I'm going through, and like, absolutely no judgment, no like questions asked, always ready to listen. My other best friend in San Francisco, shout out Devya, which I realized recently that I love her kids more than her. And then she was completely fine with that. She told me, yeah, it happens when you become an auntie, right? You feel, because you love your friend, but you feel that intense love towards those kids.
The
Like,
kids are so cute. And they
yeah.
bully your best friend. And you're like, yes. You get to see, I see that with my friends. They get to see me get bullied. And they're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, so for me, it was all girls school.
Yeah.
I loved it. And of course, there are problems and dramas, but I never thought when I went to the university that I would face those issues.
Yeah.
I did not get along with girls.
Yeah.
My friend circle was a bunch of guys, and some of them we still speak to. One of them is married, and Gaurav and I are still connecting with him all the time. He's in, wait, where is DS? His name is Divyanshu, but we call him DS. He in fact was one of my really good friends when I came to Canada all alone. He got his wife, traveled across the border from US, took me. His wife came along too and took us to the Niagara Falls and everything. Like just the thought of not keeping you lonely. That hey, you've got someone, even though we're cross borders, I'll make that attempt and I'll come and do that with you. So
Yeah.
I felt more at ease with like the guys in
Yeah.
the university. They did not judge, and they were like pretty straightforward. Well, some of the men in my university were not very straightforward. They were almost worse than women. But some of them were like, yeah, they got you, and they were pretty chill, and they were. Uh, I remember hanging out with 10 or 12 guys on the bike and different bikes, and we used to go to like all of these men areas and eat and like do all of that, and it felt good. And it was now that sometimes it's crazy to me when I think about it that some of these women didn't have to be that, I mean girls then didn't have to be so mean and so much drama and so much backbiting, you know. What do you
Yeah.
think about women friendships
Yeah.
and
I think you and I are definitely are interested in exploring this topic
yes.
further and with some of our friends and maybe like some specialists and stuff like that. But for me, I came here when I was 10 years old from Ukraine. So like I wore funny outfits,
Mm-hmm.
like matching Mickey Mouse sets and whatever that my parents had. We weren't very well off when we arrived. And so it was kind of like the integration was tough. Language barrier, I didn't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to find people that were like Ukrainian, Russian, so I could relate to
Of
them.
course.
That was the first sort of thing in middle school. Is a lot of my friends were
Mm-hmm.
Russian speakers, and then I slowly, one of my best friends, she was my first kind of bully, Mel, and we didn't get along at first. And I was kind of like I liked a little bit of attention. Like I'd play my violin a bit louder, thinking I was good, but I wasn't, and I was very annoying because I liked music and like some of the Russian girls and I would like pretend to be Britney Spears, whatever. I don't know. We like to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was a little bit of a process, I would say. And there was dynamics where there were strong personality. I attract women who are very strong willed like you,
Aw.
you know, so I kind of swim around and kind of, peacemaker in a way. So yeah, there was some of that sort of turbulence at first,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say some of my core friends from even middle school, I've known them for now almost 26 years.
Yeah, we met them at your birthday.
Exactly. Those are the girls, known them for a very long time. We've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
tides in our friendship and our relationships, some difficult conversations, but I think we still stuck it out,
Mm-hmm.
despite of like the life. It's important to have that grace with your friends as you're changing and maybe you have you're in a relationship but that isn't ideal and you're in your 20s and you don't know how to figure it out, and sometimes some of my friends wouldn't show up to certain events that you plan and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, you're supposed to be here, but behind the scenes this person's going through maybe an
That's true.
infidelity from her partner or whatever it
Yeah.
is. So I feel like having grace, having some time to forgive each other
Mhm.
for certain of these things is important. And that what preserves that friendship over the long haul is that to be able to forgive these things
That's
as
so
they
true.
happen.
I mean, some of my friends I've known since I was 9. I would definitely say all of us have evolved in a certain way. There's still that aspect which I can relate to, and we have that essentially that core personality which does not go away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen most of my friends go through breakup, through, you know, certain other aspects personally, professionally, as we, grew up. There were times I've not spoken to some of them at all.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes you have to take that distance,
yeah, and
space.
also it could be you're at different spaces in your life, so you probably are not staying as well in touch as you were before.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm still a person who can stay in touch, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't make an attempt to like actively to text someone or to call someone. I would do it on your birthday. I would do it on an anniversary. Now I probably remember my best friend's kids' birthdays more than hers, and so it's probably that now. But it's like I won't actively keep calling or texting or checking in on you, which I think is not a good thing. You should do that. And I think I lost a lot of like, I wasn't in touch with a lot of people, if you will. And that's probably something I would like to change.
There you
Hopefully.
go. 2026.
Yes, not a resolution, but
But a
something.
possible plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a plan. Definitely. But yeah, I mean, friendship is so important. We were talking about presence, and look at us, we're now talking about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the real goal. And oh, we should also talk about why we are doing this
Of
podcast, Mimi, and
course.
why we
Why does it
decided.
matter? Why should someone listen?
I know there are so many podcasts out there, thousands, right?
I know.
And I feel like when I wanted to start the podcast, one of the major things for me was I don't want just big celebrities coming and speaking, right? I want people who can teach through their experiences or through their lives. And in my community or network of women,
Yeah, and you're
I
in a
s-
lot of different tech communities.
yes, not just
Mm-hmm.
tech, I would say finance, I would say other women communities as well.
Yeah.
I just happen to find a lot of women with very interesting
Stories.
stories,
Yeah.
experiences, the way they did things differently. And I feel like we should share that. You don't have to be a big celebrity
Or
for
a big
your
VP or something. Middle
something.
management.
Yes, yes, exactly that. And like we were talking about friends, I feel like a bunch of my friends have such interesting journeys that I want to talk about, right, with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a reason why. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me too, it's broadening the horizon of what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think as we're working through, we're in the middle sort of our careers right now, and it's the question is what's next. You know, and like I've become a single parent, so for me, it's like okay, what are values that are important to me?
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like flexibility, building out a particular type of career portfolio. How does it look like whether it's in a corporate space or you're building out
Mm-hmm.
ventures, startups, and things like that. So I think it's an exciting time, but there's so much noise out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in terms of what you should do next. And I feel like creating a safe, comfortable environment where women
Mm-hmm.
and men can talk about their career experience.
Mm-hmm.
What were the aha moments that made them change their thinking? What propelled them to do something that was, you know, maybe not, you know, they couldn't comprehend it at first. Like I don't think I would comprehend wanting to start a podcast, but here we are, thanks
Yeah.
to your dream, you know, and your
Yeah.
determination to get it going. But I think it's that. I was talking to a friend today as we were waiting for our daughters to finish class, and we work together in different offices and whatever. And it was about thinking about how to ideate on some, you know, dreamscaping for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So you're, you know, you're interested and you have an exciting career that you're planning out, and you know, whether it's using ChatGPT to brainstorm some side hustle ideas,
Mm-hmm.
which could be super helpful, or maybe, you know, thinking about like, oh, I was in an argument with my partner and maybe I said some things that were not so nice. Am I
Mm-hmm.
correct? And the ChatGPT will tell you that you were right, and you'll feel so great about yourself. Or,
Because
you know,
it's meant to take your
yeah,
side.
but you know, as a jokes, of course.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like, you know, the thing is, it's to be in part of conversations, environments that you wouldn't have been
Exactly.
otherwise, and just by doing this, hopefully, we are also encouraging others to start their own projects,
Exactly.
their own tough conversations or
Yeah.
exciting conversations or whatever it is that excites them.
Yeah. And for me, it's not about the views or the impressions or how many people watched it. Of course, those are great. You know, if we have big numbers, I'll be excited to look at it.
Salacious gossip is very important.
Yes. But I think also you and I mindfully said we don't want it to be corporate. We don't want it to be question and answer, and we didn't want it to be scripted.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be free flowing, and that's what I wanted these conversations to be like. The other thing I really wanted to do was get into actively video production
Yeah.
and understand what that entails. Done very brief part of it initially, and I think um it was very new to me, so I didn't do it well. I had previous in my previous life had started a YouTube channel and quickly shut it off.
Oh, you never told me that.
Yes, but it wasn't like I was sharing my day-to-day journeys. I was doing animated videos and trying to teach people about marketing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of like, I think at one point I was at 1,000 subscribers with a few thousand views, but I was like, I I forgot about it. And then in 2024, I happened a chance upon looking at those videos again. I was like, oh my God, delete. And I deleted everything. I was like, this is so cringe. Like, what was I trying to do 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Okay.
Uh, and so part of that was, of course, bringing the stories out and everything. But this part would be a more thoughtful process of, sharing stories and everything while I'm learning like this particular skill set, right?
Yeah.
How are we, how do you run a podcast? I was always intrigued to know, like, how do people do that? And there are so many journeys where I've heard people, they do it all by themselves, which you and I are kind of going to be doing that. We are a two-person team. We are going to be
Mm-hmm.
editing, sharing, doing all of the marketing, all of those things. But there are also a team of people who are smart, I guess, and they have a whole team of people ready to do that, experts almost.
Yeah.
For me, it was more like, what can I learn from this experience? So even if we do it for a year,
Yeah.
and our intention is not to make money out of just the experience and the learning. Of course, you're learning from the guests we are inviting, essentially what their journey or their life looks like, and what are we learning from their experiences, but also like this whole aspect of how do you do a podcast.
Yeah, I think for me too is like, and it helps you to improve your public speaking
Yes.
as well, which is a vital skill.
Mm-hmm.
In the age of AI, being a good human and being a good communicator will matter so much more.
Yes.
Just because it's not something you can replicate with just,
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT or whatever. And like learning from other people's experiences, connecting as they're sitting on here speaking with us is a very powerful tool. But yeah, like you learn by doing. And I think the next era is it's propelled by creative economy,
Yep.
and this is how people are also getting inspired, learning new things, building that confidence to try things out. So I feel like it's really nice to be in this space.
I agree. I completely agree with you. Do you want to talk about why we decided it should be called Hustle and Heart? I mean, we
Yeah.
went through a bunch of names. I wanted something like she can sit with us, or something like very pop culture, if you remember.
Yeah,
when we
from Mean
started.
Girls.
From
Yeah.
Mean Girls, and something which is very, oh my god, let me get this.
I don't even remember how we came about that name anymore. It was like those strategic documents we were working on, whatever.
Yeah.
And
We just went Hustle and Heart.
yeah.
I remember that when we had this name, we were like, oh, it resonates with everything we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I didn't have a particular topic we wanted to talk about. I think the two of us decided it would be anything and everything. Just journeys and stories, professional, personal,
Yeah.
health, wealth, all of those things, right? It's a mix of everything, and no fluff. That's what we wanted to talk about. I don't want like a professional guru to come and sit and teach
What do you
like a
consider as
coach.
fluff?
I find some of these business coaches fluff.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? Like, I kid you not, my LinkedIn, and I'll show you this to you, is filled with messages from different business coaches telling me that they can get me to the next step in my career, which I'm like, I don't even share that out anywhere publicly. So how do you know what is next for my career? What do you so you now assume what's next for my career, or you think you know what I want is something you already know.
Yeah.
And then they get to you where you're like politely declining, but they keep coming back to you. And so under pressure, I think I paid and I attended um 2 or 3 business coaches first class.
Okay.
And I was like, let's see what do they have to say, like if there are so many people reaching out, maybe there's something to it. And I didn't stick with one before I passed off a judgment. I was like, let me try 2 or 3 of these people from different aspects and different fields. It was absolute fluff, all 3 of them. It was, you need to believe the energy and space you're in. You need, like, very vague advices,
Okay.
no actual strategy. And mind you, I think there probably are really good business coaches out there.
Yeah.
Like how we say there are good therapists out there, but not all therapists are good, right? You need
Of
to
course.
find that one
Yeah.
which works for you. And I think it's the same thing here. Absolute ridiculous fluff, right? With emphasis on one word, transformation. And so that is going to be repeated through the next 3 sessions. I'll transform you this, we'll transform your wealth, we'll transform your health. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
What am I taking? Like, tell me how,
Mm-hmm.
right? Tell me why. Tell me how. What's my next step? Great, you want to transform my wealth. Believe in yourself, and then you need to do this and this. It's like, where is action items? Where's the strategy? What kind of help did you receive, or what did you do in
Yeah.
your journey, or your clients who you're helping? And then it was like also very expensive, because some of these coaches charge you somewhere between a $500 to 2,000, three thousand
Wow.
dollars a session. And I'm like, I think all of you, just to be fair, should do a free session so that people understand what they're getting into, because some of this is absolute crap.
Yeah. That's good to know. That's good advice because I mean, a lot of people are going to be in a position of wanting to get position, like to get jobs,
Yeah.
to apply for promotions, and I feel like there are these sort of avenues where you could lose a lot of money.
And not to say, I don't think there are business coaches out there who don't do a good job. I'm sure there are. Like I said, there are good therapists. There, you need to find the one which works for you.
Yeah.
I guess for some people this is fine.
Yeah.
They think it's motivational and they need that. Completely understandable
Yeah.
if that works out for you. Uh, but it's crazy to me. I'd rather find a good mentor, which I feel like I've had mentors who have been amazing in the past. I'd rather find a good mentor who I can talk to, who will give it to me straight, right? Like when I was starting off, I don't know, well, if he's going to watch this podcast, um, Mohit Saxena, at the start of my career, amazing dude. He used to just give it to me straight. We were so I used to work corporate, and he was my boss's boss's boss.
Mm-hmm.
And I just walked into his cabin, and I'm like, I just started my career, but this is a very big project going on here. And I want to understand what each one of you do and how I can get to your position in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, sure. And he was so sweet and nice, where it was such a guarded culture where you couldn't speak to your boss's boss, and they were in the cabin and you're out on the floor working. And so
Yeah.
it was a completely different setup, and the tech environment's a little weird that way in India. But I reached out, and after that, what I felt was he used to just give it to me straight. When I was doing something really well, he was like, yeah, you're doing great. And the other times, he was just calling me out on my bullshit. He's like, that's absolute bullshit. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, that's not how you do it. I didn't like the way you responded here. He also has sat with me and made an attempt to spend time with me on my projects, like a whole day, cutting off his meetings,
Mm-hmm.
sitting with me, telling me how to do it, how to do that presentation, how to put it together, what kind of cross questions I'll be asked, preparing me for different job interviews. Always used to call him when I was in India and tell him, I'm going to try out for this job. What do you think I should be looking at? And he was always that good, where he always prepared me for the worst situation. And every time I did really, really well, used to call that out too. He was like, oh, I think you're doing amazing here. I don't speak to him as much after I moved. I did call him a bunch of times after that, but he still responds to my messages and emails, and he's great.
Yeah.
So I think find yourself that sort of a mentor who will give it to you straight, who will tell you what is right, and share his experience or her experience, walk you through that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, handhold you when it's needed, give you the resources when it's needed. I think it's much better than a business coach, in my opinion, because after these three or four business coaches, I was like, I'm really trying to figure out what I took away from this whole thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you attend so many different events and retreats and things like that. I find they're somewhat helpful for just like having a space where you kind of can
Network.
network, think a little bit differently, get those different topics that you didn't expect or you might not in your field. So I find like it's a nice little break away from the usual. So I enjoyed the events that we've attended in the last
Oh,
year.
I completely agree with you, but I will also tell you they are so different from the other events. The women events that we go to,
Yeah.
I can understand why some people laugh about it. If you
Why?
know, I feel like we we want to be strong, independent women. We want to be taken seriously at a table. We want to be leading leadership roles. We want to do all of that great stuff. But most of the events you and I went to, what's your key takeaway or learning? No, we shopped,
Mm-hmm.
we network, which, don't get me wrong, I love doing that. I think there should be community and spaces for us to do that.
Yeah.
But most of them are marketed as professional growth,
Mm-hmm.
or wellness, health, wealth, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know.
What do you expect to take away from it? Whether
You
it's
know, if I'm going to go to a really good event, I want, if the speakers are coming in, I don't want them to come and sell themselves or their practice or their business or
okay.
their book. Very straightforward. I want them, you have 30 minutes. What can you give us which will, one of the sessions I went to for Farah Kimchi's The Evolve, that was great.
Okay.
That was not, there was shopping, there was networking, there was good food, all of it was sponsored by TD Bank. It was
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what she did really well was get women entrepreneurs on panels,
Yeah.
different panels, and ask questions, which got me thinking about a lot of other things. Like, oh, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about this. There was a panel by TD Bank where they were talking about insurance for your business. They were talking about grants for women.
Mm-hmm. Those are really valuable things for sure.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I want that kind of information to come through if I'm joining a event, right? For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like, great. I love that you're creating like a solid experience of shopping and uh, getting people together and networking. Totally in line with that. As women, we enjoy that, and I'm not. But I also want to take away these things where I need to know that I'm in the same space, or I'm supposed to start something, or starting a new job or a new business or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
These are like things I want to actively think about. And some of these things I'm not thinking about because I'm like, in my own headspace, but I'm learning new things through these different spaces and
But
candid here.
sometimes you can just have fun, right?
I think you're right.
It's sort of like the golf course for business deals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think also it's nice to have these spaces where we don't have to be, we can dive into some more serious topics, give
Mm-hmm.
visibility to that, and that are more fun and lighter and just give us that safe space to be ourselves.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So for me, I guess where I'm coming from is for women especially, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you say you're providing like a profession, like I went to an event without you and it was all about wellness,
Yeah.
premenopause, really great stuff. Women who are not able to, or going through all of these things, have liver issues or like, issues by losing weight, and you're trying to do all of these things, like very important topics. I think it was a very great and good event.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think I met one of the naturopaths there who had like very good advice for women. Like, I feel like I think it's not very spoken about here in Canada. It's very normal in India. We have homeopathic, we have Ayurveda and all of that. So we,
Mm-hmm.
as a country, we are dependent on how do you heal yourself naturally, and then look for like these westernized medicines, as we call it there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now that we're bringing that on here, it's very important because she had some really good key takeaways about how to take care of yourself as a woman, right? Even though you're not hitting premenopause or menopause, what are the small things you can do to avoid trouble later on? Like, how can you take care of yourself? Some routines, some like really good things. And I still follow one of hers. She was like, have 2 Brazil nuts every morning. And I'm like, and not more, not less, not more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, it's been a year and I'm still following that. And I've seen some results. So
What is it supposed to help you do?
I think, if I'm not wrong, Brazil nut helps your metabolism.
Okay.
It does. And then it also has some kind of good minerals and like good nutrition for you in it. So, and the good thing is when I have two Brazil nuts in the morning, I'm not hungry.
Okay.
And then I think I'm trying to eat only once a day, so I probably eat like at 5 p.m. after that. But then it was so difficult to do that, like eating once a day, and Brazil nuts kind of helped me in the morning. I was like, oh, I did have a snack in the morning, but
Mm-hmm.
something healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so she gave like really good routines on like if you can't sleep, what you're supposed to do, what you could do without any like electronics by you. What are the, like, how do you put yourself, how do you meditate, which meditation has never worked for me. So but it was nice to to be able to understand there are different forms of meditation. But the key takeaway was that event was a little more powerful for me, and
Yeah.
they did not brand it as, oh, it's everything. It's your health, your wealth, your profession. I think most of the women events do that. They say, oh, it's an all-rounded everything. You come here, we're going to get you everything. I think just focus on those key topics,
Mm-hmm.
and if they can provide something valuable that's important for women, I think that makes sense. Also, if you go to just normal events, right, uh, tech events or anything else, it just feels very corporate, right? But it's very like channeled towards this is what we'll do, this is what we'll do, this is what we'll do, and then
Yeah.
we're done, and then probably drinks, dinner, and we're done.
Yeah. I go to a lot of events. Some are like more research based for like
Mm-hmm.
post secondary, so they're obviously more formal. A lot of those larger scale conferences that kind of attract whether it's like different sectors,
Yes.
university and research and industry, whatever, and like the tech ones, they all serve a purpose, and it just depends on like what you're trying to achieve, the
Yeah.
type of people you want to meet, whether it's a particular area that you're looking to learn more, tap into a certain community. So you just always have to have a sort of like, a mindset of what is it exactly that you're looking to get out of the experience and diversify those
I
types of
agree with you.
experiences.
I agree
Like,
with you, but I also feel like some of these people are just trying to make money.
oh, well, of course, everyone, yes. But
Yeah.
I feel like in a city like Toronto, and I always say this, and as now as people are trying to find jobs and things like that, like it's still like going back to the basics, meeting
Mm-hmm.
people, having those conversations, candid exchanges about what excites you, talking about your kids, whatever it is,
Yeah.
But there's lots of different events, different communities. You could go and meet up, and like there's people in AI
Yeah.
and ML, and you can meet up with other AI
Luma.
researchers or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think like it's important to like tap into these little curated communities too, where you
I
can meet
agree.
like-minded people, or in some bigger sort of things where you can meet people from all sorts of different walks of whether it's the startup world or media, marketing. That's how I sort of branched off when I went back into work after my parental leave. I was like, okay, I want to meet other people.
Mm-hmm.
I know the community that I'm with, like at the university, but I want to meet
Mm-hmm.
more people. And so it was a very intentional way of like I went to some events hosted by like 20-year-old startup founders who had nice exits. And like it was really fun. You got to see some people that have had successful ventures, started their VC funds. You had conversations
That's
with them,
amazing. Yeah.
young people full of energy, vision, and things like
Mm.
that. And you're just, eating sushi, having a beer. I loved that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like someone's penthouse. I thought that was like very valuable, very reaffirming. Like, okay, people are making it. People
Mm.
are kind of, there's this momentum, there's this excitement. And being in those rooms of, let's say, 50 other people that are also
Mm-hmm.
builders or asking crazy questions that they're chasing is very energizing. It's not like, sitting at the computer every day doing the same thing, but there you're just kind of expanding
It's the
your
community
horizon.
or the
Yeah.
oneness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that is. I do get overwhelmed with like really big events like the
Yeah.
Web Summit and stuff, but I think it's also what I've learned through attending all of these big events is you need to find your space and
Yeah.
your like sub community and what exactly do you want to do in those 3 or 2 days of
You have to be strategic.
very strategic. You have
Yeah.
to know what is it that you want to get out of this, because there are like 10 different topics, 10 different speakers, hundreds of different spaces and startups coming through.
Yeah.
And who do you want to network and where do you want to be? I think I was not mindful
Yeah.
when I started. One of the reasons why I didn't attend Web Summit this year was also there's so much noise from that for me where I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, it
So
is. It is very
yeah,
overwhelming
and
for sure.
some of the videos are already put up from these speakers on YouTube. So I'm like, I'll just watch it at my own pace.
Yeah, for sure. But I think
Mm-hmm.
there is a benefit to these types of events, and they need to continue because it brings people from all around the world,
Oh, I
from
agree
all
with
these
you.
different industries to collide with each other. And the intention is like, yeah, the panels are important and everything, but like making the time to have that offsite conversation. And I just came back from Lisbon like a month ago. And like it's those
Mm-hmm.
offsite chats that
Mm-hmm.
or like at the hotel, you're taking an elevator, you're
Mm-hmm.
having a quick exchange. That person's from this university, this, blah, blah, blah. It's that.
That's nice.
And you're
Yeah.
building out a network. And I think, again, for women, and I didn't do this I wish I started doing this sooner, and I was so fixated on like my family life, supporting my husband's career at the time, wanting to have children and
Mm-hmm.
everything, that I offset this idea of like wanting to go for conferences, networking, and things like that.
Oh,
Because
yes.
I was kind of like, I think you and I wanted to talk about this whole like, good girl trope is like
Mm-hmm.
how to be a good wife. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to espouse certain values. So I worked really hard. I had a good job. I supported my husband's aspirations. I also made sure I cooked and cleaned and did way too many things that I shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? But at the same time, those are vital years to kind of start getting ahead in my career. So while he traveled and he was able to attend conferences and
Mm-hmm.
do networking that were vital for him to get more senior positions in the tech community, for me, I stood still. And it happens so much because, of course, it's
Yeah.
hard to carry everything all at once. And if you don't have a supportive partner, maybe who lets you or like pushes you to be like, hey, no, you should do this. You should really get out there, meet people, see what opportunities are available for
Yes.
you.
It's interesting because someone recently, I heard someone say this, I can't remember where, that our biological clocks women's biological clocks are not meant to work hand in hand with our professional
Yeah.
growth. When you're just going to have your kids and when you're trying to build a family and everything, that's the time when you have to grow in your career and take that next step.
Yeah.
She also said, I'm forgetting her name. I think she was the CEO and MD of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
What's her name? Indrani. I'm forgetting her name. But I will shout out to her. She said, and then when they become teenagers, you're now entering the board and senior leadership. So they need your time and space, but also you're growing your career again here. So there's always this fight for your family needing your time,
Yeah.
and then you're with your kids and everything, because essentially that's the time. And then women have, she's not saying that, it's just harder, right? You have to do both.
You have to do both. And
Yeah.
the system's not designed for parents to succeed for both, I would say. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard just navigating the pickups, the drop offs, the sick
Oh, yeah.
days, all of that while keeping sharp and, moving your projects forward. It's just really hard. And like if you have, like my daughter's going to school next year, her finish of school will be 3 o'clock. Well, who finishes work at
At
3?
3 o'clock.
You
Yeah.
know, so from 7:30 till 3. So, and after school programs are really hard to get into. Like I have the existential dread almost every night thinking, I hope my daughter gets into this particular school
Oh, no.
and has after school care to allow the flexibility of me to get back
Yeah.
from work to pick her up, or like my parents or her grandparents. And so, yeah, like the system is not set up for people
Mm-hmm.
to be able to broaden their horizons within their careers. It's really tough. We want people to have families if they want to, but the system is set up in such a
It's
way.
not great. When I was working in the Netherlands, it was really nice. This was back in 2016. I saw everyone going back home at 4 p.m.,
Yeah.
which was at the same time that kids left from school. So
Mm-hmm.
they used to go do kids pickups from school and then go home, make dinner,
Mm-hmm.
spend time with the family. And like essentially all the shops used to close by like 8 or 9 p.m. So everyone was very aware of work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
And of course, there was the pharmacy open, if I'm not wrong, and a few restaurants and all of that. But everyone was so focused on work-life balance there.
Yeah.
It was like a routine, which at first it was like a huge shock for me. It was like, why is everyone leaving? Because the Indian in me was like, you've got to work like till 6 p.m., man, till 8 p.m. How else are you going to show you're working, right? That's a culture you're bought in with,
Yeah.
and like the put in more, stay the longer hours, get the stuff done. And that's where I was coming from. I also got called by the HR there one day, and they were like, it could be a serious law issue if you stay here post 6.
Yeah. Wow.
And she's like, you need to leave by 5 p.m. It's the rule. You work for 8 hours, not more. And
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay. So I was actually scared. I was like, I'm doing my job so well. Why is she calling me, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean? But that was their concern. And I saw all of these guys, girls, women, name it, whatever position, VPs to managers to people just starting. People who just started their career, don't have a family, bachelors. They're like, yeah, I'm still going to leave at 5 because how about I go hang out with my friends?
Absolutely.
I haven't
Yeah.
met my uni friends in a long time. And I'm like, that's interesting. Did we ever do that? Did we think after work? No, everyone's like busy, getting into the grind, making a career. Probably we'll meet, our uni friends or our childhood friends or other set of friends sometime, maybe. Or probably maybe, in months, if someone makes a plan, and in that, some of them don't even turn up. Some
Yeah.
of them make an attempt and they do turn up. So it was like a whole thing, right, to get that done. And this was like just very natural. And what I realized then was it was because of the work life balance there. It was like people made sure they left and they had a personal life.
Yeah.
To your point, the system is not built that way here. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and it's not built to support women's sort of ambitions to want to
Yep.
have both things.
Yep.
You might want to be a mother and you want to have a very rich
Yeah.
career as well. But I feel like we need to figure out what that blueprint, what some of those suggestions and supports need to be in place to allow more women to have the support to do
I
that.
agree with you. I also don't see, I see women talk about this and
Yeah.
everything. A lot of women leadership talk about this, but I don't see anyone kind of bringing in a change for it. If you know what, we talk and we talk and we talk,
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure.
but there's no action or execution of anything, in my opinion, to be honest.
Action is flexibility in a workplace.
Yeah.
Start from there, allowing people to be able to balance it. And I'm really grateful that I have that flexibility. And like to consider people's lived realities, the fact that, caregiving is a big factor, whether it's for children or for aging parents.
Yeah.
And in order to retain really talented people that will stay and want to contribute and everything, you need to have these sort of things in place. A lot of people will take salary cuts in order to have that flexibility, right? More time with their families,
Yeah.
more vacation, certain benefits for health needs and stuff. So I feel like the trade-offs are very serious, and we need to continue advocating because otherwise these things are going to fade away
Yeah.
as well. And
So many people are opting not to have kids because they're like, well, my career then, right?
exactly. And then there's like some policy things like, oh, we'll give you $5,000 or something to start a family. And that is not the solution. The solution is like actually creating systems that help
Yeah.
families being able to work or however they want to organize themselves. So I saw that Poland was starting a policy that's kind of bold, like removing income taxes for families of families that have two children. That's very interesting. So let's see how other countries are going to adapt to this, because demographic shifts are very are very serious at the moment. I kind of pay attention to this through my Google alerts a lot, just because like me and my friend were thinking about starting a company within the fertility support women's health space, and that's still something
How's that going?
we're still very much on the thought of it. That's still our long-term project with Linearia Health. And I'm always paying attention to the conversations around demographic shifts, the social trends and things like that. So it's very interesting to see how different governments will experiment with policy, with employment law, and social norms. And I think more and more women, to your point, younger women are starting to say less things like, I want to get married. Those statistics are changing, which in a way is kind of exciting because the realm of possibilities is broadening for everybody. And it is not to say that companionship isn't important, marriage and all of that, but it's not a one-fit solution for happiness. There's so many different ways to conceptualize that. And I think it's very exciting to start seeing that we're not putting ourselves into these boxes. That we're moving towards some things that are more dynamic, that are more vibrant, that you might have a relationship for a couple of years. It might not work out, and that is okay. You know, when I was first kind of announcing that I'm separating, going through divorce, had some friends come in. My one colleague, she came in and she's like, I'd like to first say congratulations. She's like, you are exiting a very difficult situation. You're doing it with grace. I'm really happy for you. And that was like, I really flipped the script. Rather than someone coming there with like teary eyes feeling sorry for me, there was someone who made me feel very empowered and in control of my decision, because obviously that decision was made with like a lot of consideration, right? Years of consideration. And so to me, I was like, well, this is like, I feel like, you know, some of these situations, like it's unfortunate, but it's not the end all be all. And for some people, it's, you know, someone might not want to be pigeonholed into marriage because they want to have the flexibility, the freedom to build their career or to have a certain lifestyle that might be very difficult to have a partner join you along, you know?
100%.
So
I agree.
There's lots of different ways to like live your life now, I feel. And in some respect, it does make it hard for younger people to come together because it's a lot to negotiate. We are, you know, probably not so easy to sacrifice things anymore because that younger generation is also being raised on convenience and like instant gratification. So in order to have a partner that will cycle through the same stories over and over again while you're like, oh, this
generational trauma, right? I've seen this new trend of friends coming together and raising kids together, living in the same house. I found that concept to be super cool and amazing. And I think that will, in certain respects, take off that pressure for always being around. But there's, at one given time, one adult or one parent always available to the child, which I think is so essential too, because as I was growing up, my dad was always away, right? Work, travel. He was there for the big events, right? Always there. But I felt like after going back home, my mom was always around because she was a housewife. She didn't like work. But it was comforting to know that she's always around, right? Like any screw up or my day is not going well or I needed to share something. She sort of was like a best friend, right? Like I'm sure for my siblings too, it was the same way. It was like, oh yeah, but like mom's gonna be there, right? Like to have that surety and that, but also let's acknowledge she didn't work. And many times she raised that as we were growing up, that she would have liked to start something of her own or her business, or would have helped my dad out in his business. Like she always was entrepreneurial. She always gave my dad business advice and everything, but she never got that chance to, because she was raising 3 kids. We are almost at time. Do you want to wrap up by talking about what are you planning to do in 2026? I know you spoke about your one of the ventures, but do you want to talk about the other one too?
So in 2026, we're looking to launch an investment simulation platform. It's called Ether Wealth. And so me and my friend Harshit are building it. He's the technical genius behind it. And we're super excited because what we're really interested in is helping people to play around with the financial tools without using their own money. There's so many different different learning platforms now. They're more directed towards institutional investors. They're a little bit maybe intimidating, but we want to have like a way that you could, play with virtual money to rebalance your portfolio, to see what companies you might be following along, what news are important to seeing the value of your stock going up or down or whatever. So we just want to create this really simple, inclusive space for people to feel okay with starting to trade.
That's amazing.
So,
That's very
you know, that is, I think, the interest for us, the passion, and ourselves too, as we're learning. But yeah, he's very devoted to building this platform, and he's done a terrific job. And it's just a matter of now going through, you know, the VC pitches and seeing where we can land in terms of an accelerator, or we're going to bootstrap it ourselves and just get users. But like, we're both very excited because it is solving a real need, and young investors, let's say as young as 10, because that's when Warren Buffett started, you should start thinking about how these different news and political events and things reflect on the market. And how will that influence your portfolio? Like, you should be thinking about your wealth. Okay, retirement might feel very far away, but the decisions we start formulating in our, like we said, in our childhood, whether it's extracurriculars or how we relate with our family members and friends, there's like your health, your financial literacy, all of those things are, you know, we should be teaching kids, helping navigate through the noise of social media, because there's so much shit out there and it scares me. But there should be these systems where they can play around, get comfortable, and then once they're ready, once they're in an older age and they have some money, or like start saving money now and invest in little bits and stuff, but like just feel that confidence that you can do it. And that is, you know, financial literacy is just something that we're always grapple with. Like, in high school or middle school, you get taught in like a couple of courses, but it's so abstract a lot of the times, and it's not as, you don't feel the impact of it or the possibilities of what it could mean to have compound interest, you know. I've started an education fund for Alessia, but I'm thinking like, okay, what other investment tools could I use so she, you know, comes to age with a nice sort of portfolio of money that she can invest into her education and whatever, maybe taking a gap year to travel the world, to experiment and whatever. Like, so compound interest is super important. Understanding how market dynamics play out, and just having a safe space where you can learn, leverage AI tools to help you get deeper and deeper expertise without paying any, you know, crazy funds to like a wealth advisor or whatever. A lot of people they don't feel like they're in a position to do that, but to interact with different platforms, that's fun. I think that's like a great source. Yeah.
Super exciting.
Thank you. What about you? What project are you excited to launch?
I mean, just the regulars which are going on, our podcast, of course, very important. But I'm also thinking, I spoke about this with you, I'm planning to get let's not say small, planning to get the essence and culture from South Asia. And I want to start a e-commerce, maybe an online retail store on that, where I want to share some of the authentic pieces from India, some stuff that I grew up with, wooden toys and the beauty products, which are like very super like organic and very good. And this is just a thought process right now to just basically get the flavors of South Asia over here and see how that goes. So it's just very new. It's in the planning phase. Been speaking to one of my dad's friends actually, who's been doing this for years now, trying to figure out how he's been doing it. He has an actual store, not here, it's in Oman, Middle East, but he typically sources stuff out of India as well. So just trying to figure out what that entails, what that looks like, of course, with the regular job and what you're working on, etc. But this is something which is very intriguing for me. And in the past year, we spoke about gifts, but in the past year, I've been noting this down. 13 different people told me I need to start something of my own and it should be related to gifts. And I said, oh, really? And they were like, yeah, I think you are a very good gift giver and you know how to like make it interesting for someone. And I feel like South Asia has a plethora of amazing, like thoughtful items which could entice anyone, like kids and women and men, and like and it could be something very, I don't want to say exotic, but it's something very different from what we get here. Probably some of it is already around, but I think people would find it interesting in a way to use those products. And actively. I was sharing this with one of my friends in Phoenix when I met her. I was like, yeah, we used to have like this kitchen sets made out of steel when we were growing up, and you could cook and clean and learn from that. And she's like, what, an actual kitchen set you could cook in? I'm like, yeah, we had like small cookers and everything. And she was like, what? And then she Googled it, and she's like, is this what you're talking about? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, so that's something I want to like get over here. It's all about like, how do I bring that culture back here and
Mm-hmm.
share it with everyone else? And I'm starting with India. Keep saying South Asia
Yeah.
because India is just like a good point of reference for me. And from a budget perspective, not going all big and
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So I want to start there. But of course, the vision is to expand to bring in the stories and the cultural items and everything else from South Asia to the larger space here, right? And share
Mm-hmm.
it with the people here to just share like what we used to do and
Yeah.
use, play with, or whatever it may be. Gifts which we kind of gave each other in that space. India is very heavy in gifting culture
Mm-hmm.
and regifting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. And I think our listeners will enjoy hearing about your journey and what that is like
Yes.
too, to
Yes, and
learn.
my goal is to ensure that we get guests who can teach us something as part
Exactly.
of that journey on if we
Real
want.
actionable insights that we can
Exactly.
also use and our listeners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be doing with this. I'm excited
We've
to
been
be doing.
talking for the last 2 hours. So,
Yes,
yes.
I'm excited to be doing this with you. I couldn't have asked for a more embracing, caring, and nicer partner.
Oh, well, I hope that, your sentiments still stay the same, but I'm really excited to learn from you through this experience
I'll say
to
one thing. Sorry
what?
to cut you off.
Oh, here
I
we
think
go.
you are one of those people who are so easygoing. When I say let's do it this way, and I'm not easy to work with,
Yeah.
I am very controlling, and you can accept that on camera. I completely understand that. And every time I change something, I do major changes. And you are so good at being easy there, meaning you are like, yeah, we should do it if it's a good idea, and you're also good at letting me know when it's not a good idea. So you're like, hey, maybe let's stop here. And I'm like, if she's saying this because she agrees with everything, then there's something to it. And so it gets me thinking. So I think you're a good buffer here to
The
make this
buffer.
go in the right direction.
Well, let's hope so. But I think, what's really interesting for me now in going into 2026 is the idea of how to not be so easygoing.
Oh, that's
And
great.
the idea of women who make history, they usually have to kind of break some rules. What does
Fair.
that look like? And what are, how do we embrace some elements of that
Mm-hmm.
without apologies, without, you know,
Agreed.
I like that because I feel like, for me, I'm often conceptualized as this really nice person, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, I'm getting kind of tired. It's boring, you
Fair
know?
enough. But I
And
think
it's
you're good
good
at
to be
letting.
spicy,
It
to
is good,
to
but I
break
think
some rules and make some change.
I think you're a great person to learn from in how to say no politely. I don't think I do that very well. I'm learning that from you. You're good at that. So for me, it's always back to, oh, Anna's agreed to this. So this is a great idea. But when you say no to something, I'm like, there's really a good reason behind this. So maybe let's not do it.
As you know, there's people say sometimes you have to say yes to so many things or no. What is the magic word?
Yeah.
Like,
But I'm sure you have some thought behind some of the things. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
I'm like, maybe she thought for both of us. So maybe this is not the right way to go and approach it. But I do make changes, and I make them all the time. And you would agree. And I'm quite controlling. And I'm like, this isn't perfect. Let's do it again. And
no, and I think it's all we all learn as people from each other.
yeah,
Where some of us can stretch, can improve, some can maybe lessen up some of the
hmm,
controls. So I think,
I'll keep that in mind. I'll listen up the control.
but I'm really excited to be doing this, starting off the year with our
Yes.
episode, and with our vision, and then getting everything set up for 2026. Hustle and heart.
Yes, hustle and art with Anna and Nida.
There we go.
It's done.